If everyone wants to, wait for Julia to come back here. Yeah, they'll be back in a second. I'll wait for her. Call the meeting to order at 7:33. The first thing up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Could you do the roll call, please?
Alder Radafrada. Alder Bar.
He's in the
Here shortly.
restroom. He'll be right back.
Alder Clowder. Here. Alder Krause. Here. Alder Rice. Here. Mayor Richardson.
Here.
Alder Schroeder. Here. Alder Scott. Here. Alder Strassman. Here. You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Next up is public appearances for non-agenda items. I'm going to do it a little bit different than what's on here. Why don't we first do the mayoral appointment? Alan, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Alan wants to be on the Landmarks Preservation Commission. This is a position someone had to step down on. I believe this seat is someone who's involved with Fitchburg Historical Society, which you are. So if you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest, right? The mic should be on right now, or you can hit, they'll turn it on for you. Now you got it on.
Okay. My name's Alan Tariba. I came to Fitchburg in 1991 with my wife and 4 children, and I had a job at Promega Corporation. I retired in 2006, so I could actually do some work after that. In 2014, I was asked by the Historical Society to give a lecture on genealogy, which is one of my intense hobbies. In 2015, I was elected to the Board of Directors of the Historical Society. In 2016, and every year since, I've been elected the president of the Historical Society. So that very quickly tells you who I am.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions at all for Alan? Seeing no questions, if someone would like to make a motion to approve, that'd be great.
I'd make a motion to approve. I second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so next, let's go to the proclamations. Let's do Hispanic Heritage Month first. So I have a mic here. I have the proclamation, so if Julie, you want to come up, and I know there's some members in the audience as well. If they'd like to come up with me, that'd be great. All right, we got a few people. Oh, yeah. All right, so we're recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2019 as a Hispanic Heritage Month.
Reconocimiento del mes de la herencia hispana desde el 15 de septiembre hasta el 15 de octubre del 2019.
Whereas each year, the United States recognizes National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th through October 15th to celebrate the history, traditions, and the economic, cultural, and social contributions that Hispanic citizens have brought to our nation, and
Cada año los Estados Unidos de América reconoce el mes de la herencia hispana desde el 15 de septiembre hasta el 15 de octubre para celebrar la historia, tradiciones y la contribución económica, social y cultural que la comunidad y ciudadanos hispanos han aportado y aportan a nuestra nación. Y
whereas the story of Hispanics and Latinos is the story of America, and that they have contributed in various fields, from the arts, sciences, sports, and culture to the economy, have encompassed the American dream, and have brought the energy and drive of recent immigrants to this country, and
además, la historia de los hispanos y latinos es la historia de los Estados Unidos, que ya han contribuido y contribuyen en varios campos, desde los artes, las ciencias, los deportes y la cultura hasta la economía. Han logrado con el sueño americano y han aportado la energía y el impulso de los últimos inmigrantes a este país. Y
whereas Latinos serve in government at every level, from school boards to the state house, from city councils and mayoral offices to Congress, and
además, los latinos participan políticamente en el gobierno en todos los niveles, desde las juntas escolares hasta la gobernación, desde los ayuntamientos y las alcaldías hasta el Congreso. Y
whereas this month represents the anniversary of independence for Chile, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and Nicaragua, and
además, en este mes se celebra el aniversario de la independencia de Chile, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, México, Nicaragua y
whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is one of enormous pride for over 58 million Hispanics Latinos living in the United States, comprising 18.1% of the population, and
además, el mes de la herencia hispana representa un enorme orgullo para más de 58 millones de hispanos, latinos, que viven en los Estados Unidos y representan el 18% de la población. Y
whereas the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that by 2060, Latino people will compose over 28% of the total U.S. population, with 119 million residing in the United States, and
además, la Oficina del Censo de los Estados Unidos estima que para el año 2060 las personas latinas representarán más del 28% de la población total de los Estados Unidos, con 119 millones que residirán en los Estados Unidos. Y
whereas Latinos are the fastest growing constituency in Wisconsin, with more than 364,000 Latinos calling Wisconsin home, Fitchburg is fortunate to count among its population a dynamic Hispanic Latino community, 17% of its population, that plays an important role in our city's economy and society, and
además, los latinos son el distrito electoral de crecimiento más rápido en Wisconsin, con más de 364,000 latinos que consideran Wisconsin su casa y su estado. Y la ciudad de Fitchburg, en Wisconsin, es pionera de contar con una población hispana dinámica que representa un 17% de sus residentes, que aportan un rol importante a la economía y sociedad de nuestra ciudad. Y
whereas we encourage all residents of Fitchburg to recognize and applaud the many contributions made by our Hispanic Latino community to enhance the quality of life in our city.
además, la ciudad de Fitchburg reconoce y celebra las numerosas contribuciones aportadas por nuestra comunidad hispana para mejorar la calidad de vida en nuestra ciudad. Y
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Common Council recognize the month of September 15th through October 15th, 2019, as Hispanic Heritage Month in the city of Fitchburg.
por lo tanto, se decreta que el alcalde y el concilio de concejales reconoce el mes del 15 de septiembre hasta el 15 de octubre del 2019 como el mes de la herencia hispana en la ciudad de Fitchburg, Wisconsin.
Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Common Council congratulate our Hispanic Latino community on this significant month and thank them for their contributions to the vibrancy of the city of Fitchburg and Greater Madison.
Por último, se resuelve que el alcalde y el concilio de concejales felicitan a nuestra comunidad hispana en este mes tan significativo y le agradece por su contribución vibrante a la ciudad de Fitchburg y a los suburbios de Madison. Firmado por el alcalde Aaron Richardson.
I don't know if we want to say anything else. I know we have a very large, like I said in here, a very large Hispanic community, but not only residents, but business owners, and some of whom are here with us today, and then some of whom have been very involved in the city and helping make this such a great city. We're fortunate enough to have Julia on council, and if you'd like to say a few things, that'd be great.
No, yes, I would like to say thank you to the Latino community for their contribution to the city of Fitchburg, and also thank you, Sal, Lupita, and Connie, and Rafael is there too. Because they are some of them, they are investing in our community, and also with the city of Fitchburg decided like 3 months ago, we launched our TV show in Spanish to outreach the Latino community in Fitchburg. Lupita is the co-host. I would say she's in charge with Scott and also Jeremy. So this is a great opportunity for us to to become a more inclusive city and, and also outreach the Latino community in their own language. So,
Absolutely.
I'd just like to thank the City of Fitchburg for recognizing the National Hispanic Heritage Month here at the City of Fitchburg for the last, I could say, maybe 6 years. So thank you, Mayor Richardson. Thank you, Alder Arata Frata, and the City of Fitchburg Common Council for considering and putting this in the agenda every year. That makes us very proud to be included, and the contribution the Latino community and Latino population is making in Fitchburg is very impactful. So we really appreciate that, and I appreciate that you guys recognize that as well. I would like to extend an invitation. The Hispanic Heritage Month begins September 15, this Sunday, all the way throughout October 15. It will be the whole month of celebration. So we as a Spanish radio station, La Movida, we have been organizing the National Hispanic Heritage Luncheon here in the state of Wisconsin. And this year will be the 9th anniversary of the luncheon, the celebration. And I would like to extend the invitation to all of you, and of course, Mayor Richardson and the City of Fitchburg Common Council to join us. It's a free luncheon. You just need to RSVP, and it will be on October 11 at Monona Terrace. 11 a.m. is the registration. I will leave some of the invites here if any of the you that are here at the public would like to attend, or the City of Fitchburg Common Council would like to join us, will be wonderful. So thank you so much for this great honor. And aside from that, this Sunday we'll be celebrating the Viva Mexico Festival, kicking off the celebration of the National Hispanic Heritage Month. So again, I would like to extend that invitation, and that will be at the Bree Stevens Field, and that will start with the car parade, car rally, which we will have the collaboration, I hope so, with the City of Fitchburg Police Department and Fire Department, and it will be great to have you all during the celebration as well. So this Sunday, September 15, 2 o'clock, and then on October 11 at the Hispanic Heritage Luncheon. And Salvador has been very instrumental in our Latino community through the Latino Education the Latino Education Council, and so many other roles that you take in our community. So I don't know if you want to say a few words, but thank you so much for this recognition.
Well, I have been involved also in Fitchburg. I have been involved. My wife used to teach in Verona, so we have been connected, and we just moved to Fitchburg. So I'm now a Fitchburg resident. So I hope that I can be more involved with Fitchburg as well now that I'm here. Thank you.
Annie, would you like to say anything? No? All right. We'll have the extra flyers at the front desk at City Hall as well. So if people have more interest in picking one of those up, they can do that as well.
okay,
All right.
thank you.
Gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, Fitchburg. All right. We have one more proclamation. Let me grab this one here. Welcome, Jill and crew. Oh, no. All right, so we have another proclamation, and it is recognizing National Senior Center Month. So whereas older Americans are significant members of our society, investing their wisdom and experience to help enrich and better the lives of younger generations, and whereas the Fitchburg Senior Center has acted as a catalyst for mobilizing the creativity, energy, vitality, and commitment of the older residents of Fitchburg, Wisconsin. And whereas, through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, the Senior Center empowers older citizens of Fitchburg to contribute to their own health and well-being, and the health and well-being of their fellow citizens of all ages. And whereas, senior centers in the state of Wisconsin affirm the dignity, self-worth, and independence of older persons by facilitating their decisions and actions, tapping their experiences, skills, and knowledge, enabling their continued contributions to the community. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Aaron Richardson, do hereby proclaim September 2019 as National Senior Center Month and call upon all citizens to recognize the special contributions of the Fitchburg Senior Center participants and the special efforts of the staff and volunteers who work every day to enhance the well-being of the older citizens of our community. Proclaim this 10th day of September 2019. Thank you. We gotta do photos real quick. And I have Jill, who is the head of our senior center, and I know you want to say a few things as well.
Thank you. Yep, it is National Senior Center Month, and this year the theme, which is put out by the National Council on Aging, is the key to aging well. And it is something we try really well, I mean, we do really well, I think, is offer a variety of programs and services to help members of this community age well. It's not only National Senior Center Month, it's also the 40th anniversary of the Senior Center. So it's a big month for us. And so in addition to just celebrating National Senior Center Month, we also have a lot of different activities going on. So I'm just going to put a plug out there. A big thank you to our Fitchburg Senior Center friends who are our fundraising arm. And they just got done with ice cream social at Apple Garden. But they're also doing Wednesdays at different restaurants throughout Fitchburg where you can get 20% off if you mention that you come to the senior center. So if you mention that and you don't, you still have time to come after, and it won't be a lie. If you do come to the senior center, please go. Tomorrow it's at Benvenuto's. The following Wednesday it's at Me and Julio's, and then the 25th it's at Hy-Vee. So thanks to the friends for all that they do for the senior center. And then just to round out the month, we have a 40th anniversary celebration on September 19th, and we're going to have food carts and refreshments and the Red Hot Horn Dogs playing. So it starts at 4. The mayor will be speaking at 4:30. Also, former Mayor Jeannie Sealing, the former director of the Senior Center, Sue Sheets, will say a few words, and that's at 4:30. Band starts at 5, goes till 7. So we invite everybody over to come and celebrate with us. So we're lucky to have the city so supportive and to be able to do all that we do for this community. So so I think if I can just, and I wanted to just take a moment to recognize some of our really, really long-term supporters of the Senior Center, really long-term. You know, I think these folks that are here and the ones that aren't here that I'll mention, it speaks volumes about their commitment to this city and just the community mindedness that they bring. So the ones that aren't here, Breakaway Sports, Matt Lombardino, who is the general manager, and that's the indoor walking facility, has given us use of that facility for over 20 years, every Tuesday and Thursday in the winter, for our folks to go over there and walk. And so they've made a huge contribution to the health and wellness of this community. It's one of our biggest programs with almost 30 people walking twice a week over there, November through April. So I thank them very much for their contribution to the health of this community. Secondly is PlayCon. They were not able to send someone, but they have been allowing their staff to take their lunch hour and deliver meals to seniors in Fitchburg for almost 25 years. And so twice a week, employees from PlayCon come and they take a route to the apartments. It takes about an hour. But they have just been an amazing partner to us and to, you know, the folks in Fitchburg. So thank you to both of those businesses. Here today, too, is Phil and Liz Van Kampen, and they're from Sprint Print, and they have been an amazing partner also to the Senior Center. Almost 32 years ago, the former director worked out a deal where they gave us some discounts for our newsletter because we were producing quite a bit of newsletters every month, and this partnership has just been amazing since I've been here too. They've been supportive, discount after discount, help with designing and everything. So I just want to have this community recognize Sprint Print for their support of the Senior Center, and I'm sure the city too over the years. So thank you guys very much. And then this woman here is really the key to aging well. Diane Fronick has been with the Senior Center for 32 years. So, you know, we're celebrating 40 years, so here's 32 right here. Diane has been teaching fitness classes for 32 years, and she still is teaching fitness classes 3 days a week, sometimes 1 to 3 classes per day. She has been an amazing independent contractor, now a limited term employee, also a Fitchburg resident for many, many years, served on the Commission on Aging for probably 6 years, volunteers, drives home delivered meals as well, after teaching exercise, volunteered for countless special events. What else?
It happens when you're around a long time.
Yeah. And so, you know, she's not a business, but she is a really critical part of our senior center for the last 32 years and hope to be for a few more out there. So I really appreciate all you've done and wanted to recognize you as well. So thank to both of you, and you can say a few words if you'd like.
Senior Center is amazing. The staff is amazing. The people that come are amazing. And it's a joy and a privilege to be a teacher for the classes that I come to. So I encourage all of you, because you know what? You're all going to get older, and aging is a part of all of us, thankfully. So please come and enjoy exercise class. Come and enjoy all the services that the Senior Center offers.
So thank you again. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Fitchburg is incredibly lucky to have residents and businesses like this that support the senior center, and we're extremely fortunate to have such a great resource in the senior center, and Jill and her staff do a fantastic job. So really, we're fortunate as a city to have them here to help our residents, so thank you. All right, so next we have Safe Kids is going to come up and present a little bit about what they're doing here in Fitchburg as well. So why don't you come on up, and I'm going to put this here.
All right, good evening, everyone. Buenas noches. We are very excited about this opportunity that the city of Fitchburg is about to embark on, and that is the partnership that we have with UW Health, Children's Hospital, and Safe Kids. We talked today a little bit already about the diversity of the city of Fitchburg, and we've talked about how we take care of our seniors. Safe Kids allows us to do the opposite on the age spectrum, but the same for our diverse communities. We know that we are one of, if not the most diverse community in Dane County, and this outreach allows us to get out into more homes and make a bigger impact on the lives that exist here in the city of Fitchburg. One of the things that you are probably well aware of is the fact that we built a brand new fire station. The firehouse on Lacey is going to remain our headquarters station. So there was some vacancy, and in talking about this, actually for the past 2.5 years, we have been able to identify how Safe Kids can do their work, their mission, by taking advantage of some of the space that we have available. I'm going to let Ben and Rochelle introduce themselves and their program, and then if you have any questions for us at the end, we're all here for that as well.
Thank you. So I will start, and then I'll turn it over to Rochelle. My name is Ben Ethan, and I'm the Director of Pediatric Trauma, Injury Prevention, and Child Protection at American Family and Children's Hospital. And one of my roles is, unfortunately, injury is the #1 cause of death and hospitalization for children, in fact, up until early adulthood. So from 1 to 44, the leading cause of death, and not by a small margin, is injury. And so as a level 1 trauma center, American Family and Children's Hospital has a responsibility to the community to look at ways that we can mitigate some of those risks. And a lot of that is through injury prevention, because the best treatment is not to have to treat that injury in the first place. And so American Family Children's Hospital has a pretty robust injury prevention program, and that is a requirement of the trauma center, and we will have that as long as we have that shingle, which we are very proud of. And so what we're looking at doing is looking at how we can get back into the community, because a lot of our children, unfortunately, have a tough time getting down to the main campus. And so we're looking for how we can bring those injury prevention programs out to the community, where it's easier for families to get to, it's easier to get to the children, and it's easier to partner with our communities, because especially in trauma, this is not a building that is a trauma center. It is the entire community. It's everybody from EMS all the way through rehabilitation after the injury if we are unable to prevent it. So on a selfish standpoint, I have 3 children and 4 nieces and 5 nephews, all within Fitchburg, and so we have skin in the game as far as trying to prevent some of these injuries. Some of the things that we're very happy to talk about are some of our injury prevention programs, and I'll let Rochelle kind of get into what we've done in the past, and then I can talk a little bit about kind of our future plans for that space.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Rochelle Ethan, and I am the Injury Prevention Program Manager at American Family Children's Hospital. And I kind of just want to talk a little bit about what we're about so that you kind of know what we do. We are an organization through Safe Kids in the Children's Hospital that we bring businesses, we bring other healthcare agencies, police and fire departments together to offer evidence-based programming that helps prevent injuries for children. We have been doing this for a very long time, long before me. The partnership with Fitchburg actually started over 15 years ago, so long before any of us were part of this. It's phenomenal to see where we've come and the things that we're able to offer the city. Fitchburg has, for the past 15 years and over, let us use space for car seat checks. So once a month, we are at the Fitchburg Fire Station, and families are coming in. We're offering them car seat checks, providing them free car seats, and really helping keep children safe. So we're super excited for all the things that this building and this space is going to allow us to create in the future and how we can help prevent injuries.
So kind of the programs that we're thinking about basing there. So American Family Children's Hospital is the organization that oversees the Safe Kids as well as some other initiatives. And Safe Kids is a national organization that has state chapters, and then we are a regional chapter within that organization. And there's some funding associated with that, and there's some initiatives that they have, things like safe sleep environments, car seats, playground safety, some of those type of initiatives. And then beyond that, things that American Family Children's Hospital also would like to look at. So things like firearm injuries, suicide prevention, playground safety, you know, it kind of runs the gamut. Wisconsin has a wide range of injuries that we see, everything from, you know, coming from Philadelphia. Before this, we didn't have nearly as many cow, large animal injuries, so we have all the, you know, the farming, agricultural, all the way to the big city problems that we have here as well. And so looking at what we can do to mitigate some of those things. The people that we based out there are Rochelle, who is the program manager for injury prevention, so kind of has the overarching ability to make decisions on the program's behalf. We'll have a bilingual car seat specialist who speaks Spanish and does a lot of programming out here. And as of today, we hired a Hmong speaking car seat specialist as well, so we can offer services in a couple of different languages, as well as we have some interpretive services. We're also very happy to do some children induction into the safety from an early age, and so we do some programming where we bring kids as young as kindergarten in to talk about how to cross the street, how to, you know, stranger danger, how to prevent fires, you know, the wide gamut that we have. It's a very loud 2 weeks of time and some very great partners that we have. Fitchburg Fire was able to do that this year. We have some community groups that have asked kind of to partner with us, and one of the benefits is we have some resources we can offer, and so we're having, I think, about 100, 120 high school age students who have an interest in either law enforcement, EMS, fire, or healthcare, and want disaster preparedness training, are going to come through and do some training at Fitchburg Fire. That's part of this kind of initiative. And I think the best part is we don't have any preconceived notions of what it has to be, because one of the things that we want to do is what the community wants. We see it as our mission to bring the programming that the community wants into the program. So we have the experts that we can either use our own or tap into. And so we want to know what Fitchburg would like us to offer there in addition to the curriculum we already have.
Great.
So with that, if there's any questions, we're happy to answer.
Questions at all that anyone has about the program and the partnership?
There's one closing.
Julia, yeah. Julia.
Go ahead.
I'm curious to what is the age of the kid that you help?
So we are the pediatric program, but we have adult counterparts. So we're really open to any age that needs that space. We will have our primary pediatric, and that's all the way from prenatal all the way up through 18. So we will run that gamut, but we also work very closely with our adult trauma counterparts. So things like Stop the Bleed is something that we do often together. So communities that want to do Stop the Bleed training, we have a falls prevention arm that our adult counterparts do a lot with. So it's not that it has to be pediatric only. The benefit of being, UW Health is one organization that has both a level 1 for pediatric and adults. So we have resources for both peds and adults, but we will be primarily based out here.
Ann?
I'm just wondering about the car seat program that you've got. Does that run all the time? Are there set hours?
Yeah, we have a calendar of events on our website. We are at a different fire station generally every week. For us, what's challenging is because we don't have space, we don't have the opportunity to do more one-on-one appointments, so we had to do either, it's a Wednesday or a Thursday or those times. Now that we have space available to us, we can offer more one-on-one with families. So if families will call us and say, hey, we're going on vacation and we need this done, we can offer that more as a one-on-one service. But yes, we are generally at a fire station at least once a week, and it's by appointment. We're usually there for 3 to 4 hours working with families. It's staffed by volunteers, so we have hospital, police, fire professionals that come and volunteer their time and help us install car seats.
And we're looking at if the resources we have are sufficient or if we need to augment them. And so one of the things we're looking at is, do we need more car seat techs in both the paid roles and the volunteer? But one of the nice things about having the fire station is the bays where the apparatus used to be allow us to not have to cancel for, a lot of our car seat checks are in parking lots, businesses, in the summer it's exhausting and quite warm for our technicians to crawl around cars and install car seats, and anybody that's done it knows that it's not an easy task. So having the bays will be a nice place that, weather doesn't matter, they can pull the car in, we can spend the time, because, installing the car seat is just one of the tasks. It's the education on how to install it, when you have to take it out, when the kid unclips themselves, all sorts of things that goes into, it's not just the buckles.
Thank you.
Any further questions at all? All right, seeing none. It seems like a great partnership for really the city, but hopefully you guys can get a lot of out as well. And I'm really excited for it. So thank you, Rochelle, Ben, and Chief Walvermacher.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, then moving along in the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
There's a mayoral appointment.
We did that.
We did that?
Yeah, when you were
I missed that.
in the
Oh, sorry.
restroom. Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Janelle. Is there anything that anyone wants to take out of the consent agenda?
No.
Seeing nothing, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, consent agenda is approved. Then next up, we have the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items. One is there will be a public hearing for the F-35 jets from the Air Force that are proposed to come to our Dane County Airport. That'll be on September 12th at the Alliant Energy Center. The open house begins at 5 to 6:30, and then there'll be a presentation from 6:30 to 8. We strongly believe as staff that this is a great opportunity for our region to have such great technology and infrastructure coming into our area. So we encourage anybody to attend that meeting and support the F-35s. The other items that I'd like to announce real quickly is the Verona Road Business Coalition fundraiser is going to be this Friday, September 13th at Wisconsin Brewing Company. I believe that starts at 5 p.m. The Verona Road big event, that'll actually be the opening of the Verona Road Bridge over Highway PD and somewhat full access of that highway within the region. So that's Tuesday, October 2nd. I don't have an exact time on that. Do you?
I believe 5 o'clock.
Okay, 5 o'clock. Thank
And
you.
just a note on that, the highway will not be open yet at that point.
That's correct. It won't be, this is the ceremonial opening of that, and we're hoping that the road is open by the beginning of October.
The Nesbitt Road
November.
roundabout should be open by then, though. I know a lot of people will be happy about that.
Yep.
People will celebrate that, yes.
And then lastly, the Fitchburg, 2019 Fitchburg Business Appreciation Luncheon will be on Tuesday, October 29th, and that's going to be at the Benjamin Building on the corner of Verona Road and Highway PD, and it'll be on the 3rd floor of that building. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, any questions for Pat? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the Plan Commission, or Commission number 7. First up is Plan Commission. Tom, do you want to do a motion to get us kicked off here?
Sure, I'll make a motion. It's 7A1. It's ordinance 2019-017, Plan Commission Resolution PCR 02-19 ordinance and ordinance to amend the 2019 amendment to the comprehensive plan. Amendment Figure 410, future land use plan map to provide associated with two addresses, 2546 and 2556 South Fish Hatchery Road in the city of Fitchburg, Dane County, Wisconsin. The other part to it is a plan commission resolves adopting the resolution. Does that have to be read the whole thing? The whole thing? Amending, Plan Commission resolution adopting the, recommending the 2019 amendment to the comprehensive plan. Amending Figure 410, future land use plan map on property associated with the same 2546 and 2556 South Fish Hatchery Road in the city of Fitchburg, Dane County. This was postponed from, I believe, our last meeting, August 27th, 2019. I'll move.
Move approval.
Move approved. I thought somebody had moved it. Anybody
So
move it?
moved by Tom. Is
I'll
there a
move.
second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Dan. Pat, do you want to kind of give an update on where we were at from last meeting to a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, basically, where we're at, the Plan Commission last month made the recommendation that the property be rezoned to to low-density residential and industrial commercial. This body tabled that motion at the last meeting. So where we're at this point is this body has the consideration to either approve of the Plan Commission recommendation. It needs a majority of the elected alders here to proceed. You can vote down the recommendation of the Plan Commission with the same number of votes. And if the motion fails, it would resort back to the existing zoning, which is high-density residential. So those are the three options on the table.
I believe at the last meeting, we had an amendment to remove the industrial commercial component that passed, though. So there's a current motion to be essentially what was submitted to Plan Commission originally, which is only low-density residential.
That's correct.
Okay, so we
that
can still change things around if we want.
Yeah, as amended, if this body wants to proceed with that amendment and it passes with 5 alders voting in favor of that amendment and the original motion, then that would go back to Plan Commission.
Okay. I do have some citizens that want to speak and have registered, so I'll do that next. I have Rita Hendricks first, and after that is Dan Carpenter.
Good evening. I'm Rita Burke-Hendricks, a Fitchburg resident for 15 years. Once again, huge thank yous to Alders Carpenter, Schrader, Barr, and Rice for bringing this comprehensive plan amendment forward. Please remove the industrial commercial use and return it to the Plan Commission so it can be approved as written. Adding industrial commercial because something might happen is not planning. It is simply ignoring the problems, ignoring the citizens, ignoring safety. It is saying, although you recognize that there are issues with safety there, you're going to pretend that the problem can be fixed after you make it worse. We can't accept a promise that issues will be fixed later on. Once it's there, and no promise will help us. No promise will prevent a horrible accident. This process has shown citizens that they don't count. Fitchburg needs to be transparent, and it hasn't been. The process has been flawed, and while some try to fix it, there's still work to be done. Residents need to be assured through action that we can trust the notification process and we will have an opportunity to be heard. This didn't happen in 2014 or 2017, and it continues to be an issue. We worked with Alder Carpenter to get this property back to where it was in the 2009 comp plan. It was written the way it was written to best protect safety and our voice. Remember how the back exit promise was used? Remember how the high-density use was used as a reason for inappropriate projects to keep being brought forward? What we want is that all projects go through careful scrutiny. We do not want to be told that since industrial commercial use is there, that the city has to accept a project. Remove the industrial commercial use and return it to the Plan Commission. Stop the ping pong match, please. When a good project comes forward, the developer can obtain a comp plan amendment. But the project needs to protect our safety in a very dangerous area and to give notice and voice to all citizens, including those back on Research Park Drive, Noble and Micah. Designating industrial commercial usage to an area without knowing how it's going to be used is like giving someone a signed blank check and saying, we trust you to protect the citizens and do what's right. I don't do this at my house, and neither should Fitchburg. They shouldn't give out blank checks, no matter how shiny the promise is. Finally, I'd like to say I'm appalled that that last meeting in Alder would say that this is nothing more than a neighborhood spat. This is neighbors looking out for neighbors, looking out for the safety of all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dan.
Good evening. As you all know, I was one of the 3 original authors to this amendment before you, and upon moving out of the district and consequently stepping down from my seat, Alder Barr agreed to be the 3rd Alder. Thank you, Dan, and Sarah and Janelle for putting your name on the amendment, and Tom for your continued support. There are some on this body who refuse to listen to residents and always seem to put special interests over the interests of everyday citizens. We saw this with North Stoner Prairie when city staff and certain alders did everything they could to appease a connected developer and have high density included in the plan, even though more than 500 people signed a petition asking us to go back to the original density designation. That's the intent of this amendment, and it's what everybody here is asking for tonight, to go back to the original designation of low-density residential. This is another example of the Plan Commission, an unelected, unaccountable body making policy. It is inherently undemocratic to have people who are not elected and therefore not accountable to voters make policy by changing policy that was made by elected officials. Elected officials have the final say, not the other way around. Having this parcel include an industrial commercial option would not solve the many and obvious concerns that have been expressed by residents for the last year over high density. It only sets up the same concerns for a later date and delays resolving this matter once and for all. Other than some city staff who seek to push an agenda, several plan commissioners who don't feel they need to listen to residents, and a landowner who seeks to make a greater profit through an unfit designation, who actually supports this? In all my conversations with this parcel, the only ones who supported high density were the landowner, developer, city staff, and a few alders. It is the same with a commercial option, and I'm glad that that was removed by this body. People registered tonight because they want the parcel to be low-density residential, not low-density or something else, just low-density residential. Notice who's not here? It's interesting the landowner and potential buyer don't even bother to show up and make their case. Maybe that's because they know they have support from key city staff who can deliver a vote for them, or at least try. Approving low-density residential without the commercial option not only reinstates the original and more appropriate designation, it also shows elected leaders listen to concerned citizens and work to bring finality to this issue. You are all elected to listen and be the voice of residents at City Hall. You are all elected to represent citizens and be the checks and balance to City Hall's agenda. You are not elected to rubber stamp city staff, help a landowner maximize their profit margin, or curry favor for a potential buyer who happens to have a cozy relationship with the city administrator. Please do the right thing and listen to the people here tonight and who have registered. Vote for low-density residential.
That's time.
And send it back to the Plan Commission. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have some people that have registered only, unless I missed one in here, if someone wants to speak. Josie Pedoni from Fitchburg, registering in opposition of the matter. Please return amendment back to as originally proposed, low density, because commercial still poses unsafe, high-traffic situations. Thomas Thorson from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission or simply remove the industrial commercial and restore to original Carpenter, Barr, Rice, Schrader amendment. Thank you. Dale Henricks from Fitchburg, registering in opposition of the above matter. Please remove industrial commercial and return to Plan Commission. Jane Lyons from Fitchburg, registering in opposition of the above matter. Remove industrial commercial and return to the Planning Commission. Mark Lyons from Fitchburg, registering, I believe, in opposition. Remove industrial commercial and return to the Planning Commission. Dawn Strassman from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please remove industrial commercial and return to Planning Commission. Gary Pedoni from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please restore the amendment as originally written to return the land use to what it was in the comprehensive plan. Thank you. David Clower from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to the Plan Commission and remove the industrial commercial use. David Clower from Fitchburg, registering in opposition of the above. Please send back to the Plan Commission and remove the industrial commercial use. Wyatt Clower from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to the Plan Commission and remove the industrial commercial use. Josie Clower from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to the Plan Commission and remove the industrial commercial use. Josh Strassman from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission, remove industrial commercial. Aaron Anderson from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission and remove industrial commercial. Cheryl Strassman from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission, remove industrial commercial. Crystal Strassman from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission, remove industrial commercial. Catherine Wicker from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Please send back to Plan Commission, remove industrial commercial. David Strassman from Fitchburg, please send back to Plan Commission, remove commercial, return to original. From Chris Armstrong from Avante Properties. Dear Mayor Richardson and Council, as the representative, the landowner immediately to the north, Fitchburg Technology Campus LLC and Avante Properties, I'm writing to voice my opposition to Ordinance 2019-0-17 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0219, removing the IC zoning classification from the Randy Coles property at 2546 and 2556 South Fish Hatchery Road. We're actively marketing adjacent lots 25 and 26 of the Fitchburg Technology Campus, which is 6.5 acres, have been able to provide additional options for a larger site of 10 plus acres with the addition of the Randy Coles property. Alternatively, commercial development of lot for 25 and 26 may provide access to the Randy Coles property via Research Park Drive for a separate commercial project. Either option would require the continuation of the IC zoning classification. In general, commercial development has the advantage of greater tax increment and lower need for city services. The city and its taxpayers would be well served to keep this economic development option available. Please amend this ordinance and resolution to keep the IC zoning option in place. Best regards, Chris Armstrong. I have Jay Hockmuse from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. Attached to this form are copies of my comments. If time permits, please read the comments that are in bold. That should take less than 2 minutes. I can pass these down so you can read along if you'd like. So he's asking to revise the comprehensive plan amendment introduced by Alder Carpenter that was modified by the Plan Commission, and to delete the wording added by Plan Commission that would allow industrial commercial uses of the property for this item back to the September 17th Plan Commission meeting with a report back date of September 24. Do not accept the opinion that state law requires 5 votes to refer this item back to the Plan Commission. State statute states an ordinance may be enacted or a resolution may be adopted under this paragraph only by a majority vote of the members elect. Referral back to the Plan Commission is not prohibited by this section. Motion to refer fails. Please adopt the motion to table this item to the December 10th council meeting and authorize the mayor to request an informal opinion on this issue from the Wisconsin Attorney General. Hopefully, after the amendment introduced by Alder Carpenter is again referred to the Plan Commission, a majority will vote for it because they agree with the following points. And proposal that it needs an industrial commercial classification will create significant traffic issues on Fish Hatchery Road unless a backway access is used. Preventing traffic issues is why this property should only be designated low-density residential. The process that led to the comprehensive plan being amended in 2014 to allow high-density residential and 2017 to allow industrial commercial uses not comply with the notification requirement in state statute. This prevented many residents from attending public hearings and voicing opposition to the proposed amendments. It also prevented the council from being aware of those concerns before voting on these amendments. The best way to address this process flaw is to amend the comprehensive plan to remove the 2014 and 2017 amendments and reinstate low-density residential. Thanks for considering these comments. And I did have a late addition here from Raphael, I'm going to butcher your last name, Kruchit, from, I think, Southern Services that would like to speak. So if you'd like to come up and speak, please. Oh, no, okay. And comments is, I want to support the flexibility of residential and commercial use of this lot and keep the future land use of the commercial use. All right, so I think that's all the citizen comments, unless I missed something. All right, so as of right now, the amendment was amended last meeting. So what we have has removed the industrial commercial. It can be added back in, it can be voted on as is, it can be denied, and then it just ends up remaining high-density residential. And so who would like to comment or speak or ask questions or anything like that? Oh, Dorothy.
With the letter that we've got from Chris Armstrong, how much do we know about what his plans are? And is the intent there to use the main access to the entire property off of Nobel and or Research Park Drive rather than Fish Hatch?
Well, contrary to belief of a former alder, I have no connection with a developer in this situation. This letter was the first I've heard of a potential development there, but please note that the developer's property to the north is adjacent to research and has access to that. That's all I know on this project.
There's lots of times where projects are being worked on. I'm sure they're working on stuff right now. Who knows what level it's at for approval?
That's correct.
Dan.
So I would comment, here's what I would say, couple of thoughts. When Alder Carpenter, he obviously was here and he had authored this proposed amendment, I agreed as he left the council to continue with that. I know there was residents asking for that. And I understand his opinions and concerns. He's here tonight, appreciate him coming. What I would say is him and I don't necessarily totally agree on the whole thing. However, as someone who is an author, it's his proposal. I'm here to, I think Dan certainly listens to residents and certainly has worked very hard on this. And so I respect what he's done on behalf of the residents. I would like to, and I appreciate Dorothy's comments, I would like to get an idea of what potentially is coming forward. I'm fairly open. It'd be nice if we had some more time to find out more information on some of this. That's what I would say. There's certainly potential here, and I'd like to see what's going to come forward before we were to add industrial, commercial, something like that. I want to be open-minded about this. I really do. But frankly, I'm going to be supportive of the amendment as we amended it, as the author replacing Dan. But I'd like to hear what the developer would like to do if he's going to buy the land, what he's looking for, what the potential is, what his ideas are. Maybe a proposal will come forward. This is not the end of the process, but I do think that this amendment's good. I think Dan's done a good job. I think he's representing the wishes of the residents. He represented the area. And so that's where I'm at on it. If there's something that comes forward that's extraordinary or outstanding, we'd want to hear from residents, get some citizen feedback, something like that. But I think at this point, it's sort of hard to make a decision when we don't have all the information. And we do have the amendment that citizens and the alders in question and from the district have worked on. And so that's where I'm at this time.
All right. I have Julia next.
Yeah, so what I want to mention is that I would like to see the flexibility in this lot. So this is what I would support, the low density or commercial or industrial. I think we need to keep it because we need to look at what are the other lots around this lot are, zoning for. And I think that we need to we have been done so many changes in zoning in these lots in 2009 and 14. So, and I imagine that, what happened in this lot is what about private domain? What about, we need to think about, do we want the council city change our zoning of our own lot every 2 years? Where is our private domain? Where is end? We have done so, it has been abusive what we have done to this lot in the last couple of years. And I think that we need to keep, I don't mind to keep the low density, but I would like to keep the flexibility on the zoning, to keep it commercial or industrial to see, because it could be opportunity there that a good plan for commercial can come. Doesn't mean that it's going to bring tons of traffic that some neighbors think. And also want to ask, how many, if we put low density, how many houses can we put in the lot? 20?
I don't know the exact number. That's something I could clarify at a future meeting or.
It's roughly 20, give or take.
20
3 or 4.
homes. Yeah.
So my question is, okay, 20 and an average family has 2 cars, so we have 40 cars coming from that lot. So what was the difference with this affordable senior housing traffic?
And school buses, too.
So, so I think the low density also is going to bring some traffic. So I think we need to keep the flexibility in the lot.
All right. Anyone down on this end, Janelle?
I stand behind my original request on this document. We have countless times brought the neighbors in on this. We've looked at this project. I feel like when we take a look at this parcel, we've had a label on this parcel, and this parcel has continued to draw options that are not attractive for that space when we consider not only the neighbors' voices, which have been consistent, repeated, and ongoing in countless meetings that they've sat in on, but the other consideration, that I want to highlight is that we don't have control of that road. And so when we start talking about traffic, when we start talking about ability to manage that, that's not our asset. We can work with the county and we can have conversations with them, but ultimately we need a solid way to consider not only the traffic, but the fact that we've got a hill as part of this. And so I stand behind my original.
Sarah?
I fully support Janelle. This is from going back and forth with the zoning. This low density is what it was initially. I just stand by what we supported and just think that that's kind of the path we should stick with.
All right. Anyone else, Dorothy?
Yeah, should have looked up by now, but what is the historical progression of zoning on these parcels?
Pat, you want?
Yeah, obviously pre-zoning, it was whatever the existing use is. The property to the south is commercial/industrial. That'd be the Strassman parcel, I would guess. The property that's in question is residential, and the property to the north is commercial industrial. So what you have is you have 2 parcels of commercial industrial use surrounding a residential use.
And then at one point it was amended to be high-density resident. It was low-density residential.
Yeah, and
a while back.
currently it's high-density residential.
With industrial, and that was 2 years ago in 2017, the industrial commercial component was added.
That's correct.
I have it here. Can you read it, Sonia?
Yeah. This is from our city planner. Upon adoption of the 2009 comprehensive plan, the future land use of these parcels, an amendment passed in 2014 to change the future land use to low-density residential, from low-density residential to high-density residential. This is missing text here. I can't read this, Julia. But basically, in 2014, it went from low-density residential to high-density residential, and that's where we're at tonight.
Well, and then 2017, the industrial commercial was added to the high density.
Yep.
Yeah. So you want to go ahead, Dorothy?
So in spite of the fact that there has been tree service and apparently before that, other businesses that were run off that property, before the pre-zoning apparently, it was being used for industrial purposes. So that hasn't mattered?
No, what happens is when our formal zoning came into place, we basically adopted the existing land use of the parcel as the current zoning. So the properties were grandfathered in that didn't meet the existing zoning within the city. So.
Okay. I just,
It's pretty-
business
it's
address
pretty
for a tree
complicated.
service is that.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
I-
complicated to explain.
Okay.
Does that get your questions answered?
No, but it can't be answered, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think the comprehensive plan kind of is when it negated any previous uses once
Right.
that was developed the first time.
That's correct.
All right. Further questions, comments at all? Seeing none, the current before us, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, is that is to send back to Plan Commission with the industrial commercial removed because we amended it at the last meeting.
That would be the vote on the amendment, but then you'd have to vote on
Well, I
the
thought we voted
original.
on the amendment last time, then we tabled the original.
Okay, so yeah, then you would be voting on the original with the amendment in place.
Okay. All right, so what we'll be voting on, so last meeting, we voted to remove the industrial commercial component, and that passed. We didn't need 5 votes to amend the amendment. So now we would be voting on the essentially amended back to what was originally sent to the Planning Commission, which would be low-density residential only, is what's, an aye vote would say, I want it to go back to low-density residential only. A no would say, you don't. But the industrial commercial has been removed. It would go back to Planning Commission, and then hopefully Planning Commission would then agree with us to approve it and move forward. Or it would come back again, like it did for Storm Prairie. Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna, before we vote, I just wanted to say that I have been talking with the Wisconsin Ethics Committee, and I won't be recusing myself from this vote.
Based on what they've,
Yep, what they have advised me.
And that's against the advice of the city attorney.
So you talked to the ethics board, is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Sorry, the state ethics board.
could you raise your hand if you'd like
sorry.
to comment? Oh, yeah, Dan, go
So,
ahead.
yeah, the state ethics board would be the authority in the state of Wisconsin on any ethical vote.
Correct.
City council or state.
Correct.
All right.
So,
Hold on, I have Dorothy, and then I'll go back to Julia.
So I think I just want to point out my question before about Chris's letter indicates that access would go out to Research Park Drive. If that gets blocked, as his letter says, if he cannot use this property if it is low density, that means whatever happens on that property will be using Fish Hatchery Road as the main access.
Possibly, they could always come back and amend it. There is that option to bring it back again and amend it again. That can even be done outside of the annual process. It's complicated, but it was done actually with North Storm Prairie originally. We don't like to and prefer not to, but it has been done. So if there was a project that came forward, there would be opportunities. It's not ideal, but it is possibilities. I have Julia and then Dan. Julie, do you have a further question?
yeah, so I'm regarding the question about recusing yourself. So you say that you can vote?
To
I would like to see in writing that, otherwise, because I see that, I consider you have a big conflict of interest here, and you shouldn't be voting.
But if you
Well, I
would
would
like
like
to
to
contact.
Hold on. Everyone
Argument.
needs to be recognized before they speak. We're not going to have a back and forth. Let's have some civility. So Julia can finish what she's speaking.
Writing, because I want to compare what our city attorney said and what this, what she said, the Wisconsin Ethics Commission. I would like to see in writing your, that they are approving you and they know your case and they are approving. I would like to see that in order for me to continue voting, and I see maybe we need to, I don't know.
So you're suggesting possibly postponing then to a future date so that that can be clarified then?
Yeah, because
or,
this is a surprise for us now, for me, and I would like to see in writing,
Okay.
the result.
Okay. And Dan?
Yeah, so I was back to the issue at hand, and someone else will have to address the concerns about abstaining or abstention or not an abstention. But what I would say is, with the Plan Commission amendment, the plan amendment, a couple of things. So I would like to see if, in fact, Mr. Armstrong is looking at bringing something forward, which is fantastic. I'd like to see what he's going to bring forward. We can do comp plan amendments. The previous Plan Commission made comp plan amendments and upzone property all the time for developers, constantly, in fact. And they had no problem doing that, and the council oftentimes went along with it. And so I'd like to, before we do that, see what's going to come forward. I don't think that's unreasonable. And so I am very open to looking at whatever they're going to bring forward. If they got a back road, if there's something commercial they'd like to bring, absolutely, I'd be willing to meet, want to hear about it. We can make changes. This is an elected body. Plan Commission can look at it too. No problem. They can even bring something forward or explain what their ideas are for this property before it reaches the Plan Commission, and whatever. There's still options for them to do that. But ultimately, we've been through this process for months. This has gone back and forth. This amendment's been out there for, I don't know when year, just back in May, I think. So whatever, I mean, here we are, and I think it's great that they're looking at doing something. I'm certainly open to hearing that. But that doesn't change the process or my mind. I would like to see what's going to come forward. I'd like to see what's planned for this property. These residents have worked with their elders. Alder Strassman now represents the area, and so it would seem fit the reason that she votes. She needs some alder's approval to vote. It's her decision. She's an elected official. Okay? If I think it'd be good if she produced a document from the Ethics Board, the State Ethics Board, which is the authority on that sort of thing. It's common sense, and that's it. And so I think it'd be great, but that's, I think, where we're at.
Shannon, did you want to speak yet?
There will be a letter. So I'm already working on it. It should be coming soon.
Perfect.
Great. Any other comments, suggestions? Want to vote or Dorothy?
I'd just say I'm tired of jerking people around, both the neighbors and the landowner and the developers. I'm just tired of people being jerked around, and us. If this goes to just single family, there's another jerking around going to come in the future, it sounds like. I'm not certain what the best answer is, other than let it stay what it is now until we get it all sorted out and figure out what it should be.
All right. Anyone else? Then I will do a roll call vote then, if there's nothing else.
Okay,
All right, so if you vote aye, you would be essentially saying you want to send it back to Plan Commission as only low-density residential, because that was amended in the last meeting.
Alder Radafrada,
No.
Alder Barr,
Aye.
Alder Clouder,
Aye.
Alder Krause,
No.
Alder Rice,
Aye.
Alder Schroeder,
Aye.
Alder Scott,
No.
Alder Strassman.
Aye.
You have 5-3.
All right, so that will go back to Plan Commission and hopefully not ping-pong back and forth too much, but go back to Plan Commission. Does it have to wait, do you know, Pat, does it have to wait 30 days or will it go to the next meeting?
It'll go back to Plan Commission, not this month, but next month because of the agenda. And then after Plan Commission will have to wait 30 days before it comes back to this body.
All right, moving along. Tom, do you want to make a motion for number 2?
I'll make a motion for 7.2. This is an ordinance 2019-0-31 RZ 2308-19, approving request by Brian Munson of Vanderwall and Associates, agent for Fitchburg Campus 2, LLC, to rezone Lot 1 CSM 8023 from rural residential zone district to planned development district, general implementation plan zoning district. I moved it, and I believe this is coming back from our meeting on August 27th.
Okay, so you're moving to approve again.
Correct.
All right, is there a second? Second from anyone? All right, thank you, Julia. All right, so I have Brian and Dan who wish to speak. You're back again with Viridian. Welcome.
Good evening. Again, Brian Munson with Vanderwall and Associates. Happy to be back tonight to share some additional information in response to the question raised at the last council about the development plans for the parcel to our east. Again, as we stated at the last meeting, our phase 1 will extend Minong Lang all the way across the site to the adjoining parcel. And as I believe, as indicated through an email that Sonia sent to this body, they've had conversations with William Ryan Homes, who are proceeding with final plat of the balance of their parcel in anticipation of developing that connection out to our east, potentially in 2020. So I believe that was the information that the council was looking for in terms of timing, and we think that lines up quite nicely with our phasing, such that that access will be available not just for our parcel, but also the William Ryan Homes parcel as a secondary access point out to Seminole.
All right. I have a few comments. It looks like just people registering, and then we can ask further questions. Thomas Thorson from Fitchburg registering with some comments. I guess I'm not sure if it doesn't say if it's support or opposition, but number 1, make sure the county fully researches the stormwater calculations. Number 2, density numbers are too high, showing inconsistent bad government application to standards. And number 3, set provisions for traffic public safety both in and out of Crescent Crossing. Rita Hendricks from Fitchburg registering in opposition. Please phase in the number of lots sold until a second exit is in place. And then Jay Hockmuth, who passed out his more extensive comments, attached are 11 copies of my comments. Sorry, I'm able to attend this meeting. If time permits, please read these comments that should take less than 3 minutes. And it says, hello, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the rezoning request for the Crescent Crossing neighborhood. My name is Jay Hockmuth. I lived in Fitchburg for 33 years. Michael Ejercito, Seminole Tourist Neighborhood Association President, and Tom Thorson, Lacey Heights Neighborhood Association President, have reviewed these comments and agree with all of them. Thank you for voting on August 27th to postpone consideration of this item until this meeting. It's certainly great news that plans for the streets in Storm Prairie needed to make Minong Lane a through street are being prepared so these streets can be built in 2020. However, that's not guaranteed, so please put the safety of Fitchburg residents who travel daily on Seminole Highway ahead of the interests of the Crescent Crossing developer. Please condition the approval of the rezoning of the Crescent Crossing lots in Phase 3 and 4 and the awarding of the contract to construct the streets in Stoner Prairie needed to make Minong Lane a through street. Phase 3 and 4 lots are about half of the 121 lots approved by the council on August 27th. This condition is needed because, number 1, other developments recently approved in this area already have an alternate way to enter or leave them that does not involve using Seminole Highway. Crescent Crossing does not. Number 2, traffic congestion on Seminole Highway between Highway PD and Lacey Road is significant, plus it causes significant congestion on Lacey Road. Number 3, the stretch of Seminole Highway does not have the capacity as currently configured to safely handle the traffic generated by all the projects in the area that were approved by the council before this project was approved. Thanks for considering these comments. That is all I have on this one, unless something else came up. Seeing none from the public. Comments, questions up here from anyone? Dan?
Okay, I'm going to say something. You're all going to like it. So we've been down the road here a long time, and I've heard a lot of comments about this. And when I had met with the citizens from Seminole Forest and Lacey Heights about a year and 3 months ago, I told them, look, some medium density is the way to go. I agree with you. That makes sense. That's what they were promised. That's not what they got. So then we've gone through this process. It's been a long process. It's been a long time coming here. But now we're sort of into the details of various components of this project, the number of units, gross or net density, whatever it might be. And I don't believe that I'm going to rewrite these people's project for them. I think Viridian has come in and done a nice job. You guys have done a good job. You've had public hearings. I read some of the concerns to you guys and to Valerie last time that were brought up by Jay Hockmuth, and I appreciate him being so diligent in doing that, but I think a lot of the questions have been answered. In addition, this issue of the back road was brought forward to the City Hall, to our staff, and I think we had some confirmation that a back road will be in place in 2020 from our staff. I'm confident in that. I think Viridian's acted in good faith, and I do think it's time for us to move on. This is a good project. They've met the criteria, the Clowder Amendment, which I was also a part of, along with former Alder Carpenter and others. And so this is where we're at. And I think we got to be fair. We've listened to the residents. We've given them medium density. That's why you had the 500 people who signed the petition in question. And so we've sort of met the criteria that they've asked for. Now, I don't want to get into this situation where every project that comes forward, we're changing things and we got to have this and we're moving the goalpost around. Yeah, I'm just not comfortable with that. And so I think it's time to move forward and approve this.
All right, Julie.
Yeah, so I want to echo what my colleague mentioned, and I think this is a good approach of responsible growth in that area. We have invested a lot in that corridor with Sub-Zero, Promega, Hub House, and I know the city is investing a lot of money in infrastructure to correct the traffic issue that they're going to come with all of these developments. So, and I think that this is a very good project. So we are committed to this corridor with different projects, and I think this new neighborhood is going to fit perfectly in that corner. So I think that we need to move forward, and I think that the developer is working under the zoning and the units allowed under that zoning, and so I think we need to move forward.
All right. Dorothy?
I agree. Regardless of almost everything else, we need housing in Fitchburg that people can afford to live in, whether it's rental or home ownership opportunities. We have a good majority of people, firefighters, police, teachers, nurses. A lot of people cannot afford to live in Fitchburg. I think we are cutting our feet off by saying, well, everything we do has to be high-end. We're just making it not possible for people to afford to live here by saying, well, we have to have this and this and this. That ends up meaning only affluent people can live here.
Thank you. Other people, Janelle?
This is my neighborhood. We've been at this for a long time. There are a handful of things, as you can imagine, that I hear from my neighbors on. And so I'd like to hit the highlights. The first, I think that I agree with the majority of the comments that you've heard here. We asked for medium density. We asked for attainable price point. We asked for home ownership. And I think that we've got that. The concerns that we've had have been, we've had some conversation around density, and I visited with Alder Barr earlier today. We need to, going forward, have that be a precise number. I think that we owe it to the developer and our neighbors to be clear about what that math looks like. I don't think that that should stop this particular project, but I think we need to learn from this and move forward. We've had conversations around stormwater, and and I think that we've got the county taking a look at this. We have had 2 significant previous issues in this area, and I don't question the work that this firm does. Our neighbor's concern is we've had 2 issues before on this. And so what I'm going to ask is for city staff to make sure that ultimately what is delivered is consistent with the design. And I think the last thing that I've heard time and time again from my neighbors is we would be grateful if we could think of this as our own neighborhood when we're in there doing the work that we're doing. There have been some significant issues with the way the adjoining neighbors have been treated in debris and a number of other things. And so we'd just simply like to ask if you lived in that neighborhood to treat it as though it was your home as well. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Tom? Yeah.
You know, for the committee that got involved with this, I think the majority of, or some of us definitely have listened to them. They worked on this project for about 1.5 years. And it went full circle and now it's come back. And I think it's where it should be. And I'm not as high on my horse as I was the last 2 weeks ago, due to the fact that we are talking about a back road. I've said that all along, that we need another exit, and I'm still saying it. But from what I'm hearing, I didn't meet with the developer to the north, but at this point, I'm trusting your comment and what the mayor has said, that possibly next year we will get a back road. I'm fine with that, and you know, that for those who are watching, it relieves not one exit, but possibly 2. I think that's real important for people, Lacey Heights, Seminole Forest, Tower Hill, Wildwood South. They travel that way constantly, not just to mention a few. There are certainly a lot of other people do too, but just to mention a few, because that's the closest neighborhoods to where you're developing. Thanks for checking into it.
All right. Anything further from everyone? All right. Seeing nothing else, then we can go to a vote. I think I'll just do a voice vote unless it sounds contentious, and then we can do roll call. So all in favor of approving the ordinance 2019-0-31, say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, and that is approved. All right, thank you. All right, moving along, Board of Public Works.
I got a point of order.
Oh, yeah.
Could we move, there are citizens in this public that want to be heard, and I don't believe they should sit for 2 hours or 1.5 hours or whatever. Could we move 11A up? If I could, I would move that we move 11A up at this point.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, second by Dan. All in favor of amending the agenda to move 11 up to this point, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, we can go ahead and do that. Let's see, so this is discussion only on adding Edgewood Athletic Complex in the comp plan by Alders Clouder and Schrader. I'm not exactly sure what you wanted to accomplish, Tom, so I'll let you kind of introduce it. It is discussion
Well,
only.
Before that, did you have any registrants?
I have a bunch of them. If you just kind of want to let the public know
Oh.
what this is about first, I'll get to the registrants next.
Edgewood College came to the city of Fitchburg in the way of the O'Brien Farm, and they asked for an athletic field. The athletic field is, if anyone looked in the packet or saw the packet, could we put that up on the screen?
Yeah, he's bringing it up right now.
Working on, no problem, okay. What you're gonna see is an athletic field that Edgewood has brought forward, where it involves a number of fields. The field they're looking at is, for some residents in the city, I call it, it's to the west of the power plant, and it's where the Hmongs used to garden. And what took over there was a water problem. And with that being said, I don't believe, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the O'Briens don't farm that anymore in that area. I'm stalling for the map.
It's coming.
It's coming. No problem.
I had the wrong one.
No problem. No problem. The map will give you a little indication what they're looking at. I'll go on. And it has, and I won't get them all, but this field has a baseball field, a soccer field, a tennis court. I'm probably missing something, but the field is to be used by, obviously, Edgewood College. Now, this isn't the high school. I really don't want to go down that road between the high school and the college. And I really would like to go down the road between the City Council in Madison and Edgewood High School, but you know, I won't. I won't go there. I'd like to, but I won't. But this situation, Edgewood's asking for 40 acres. And the 40 acres would be this athletic field. I did talk to someone at Edgewood today, and this was my question to them. If one of our high schools in the city, Madison, Oregon, Verona, had a problem with a practice field or their baseball diamond, could they use your athletic field? And the answer was they could. So the point there was obviously to reach out to the high schools, and here we go. Now the public can see what I'm talking about. So if there was a problem at one of the high schools, they could go off of Lacey Road. I'll say it again. It's on Lacey Road by Seminole Highway to the west of the power plant. There's a MG&E plant, does that sound right?
It's a pipeline. It's
Yeah,
not a power.
substation.
Substation?
Yeah.
It's on the other side of that. In this situation, you can see what they're looking at. They're looking at different athletic fields. It's been brought to my attention through some neighbors also of the parking stalls, and I'm going to just throw out a number for approximately 300 parking stalls, and is that, would those be filled? Talking to Edgewood, I found out that if they have a baseball game there between the college and Ripon College, I made that up, they're talking probably 100 stalls. Why? Because they don't have that many people going to these games. Now watch me eat those words. But they don't have that many people going to the baseball game for between Edgewood College and Ripon College or another college. It's not like you're going to the Brewer game. So the situation is, it's 40 acres. The people on the Edgewood board, some of them do live in the city of Fitchburg? They live in my district? No, they might not. I'll rephrase that. They live in the city of Fitchburg? Edgewood would just like to know if this body can support an athletic field. Now, I'm going to be careful how I say that, but are you in favor of it, or is it something we shouldn't be looking at the comp plan, or is it something that Edgewood, should go to Stoughton or go to another community? I would hope not. I would hope that you want to remember what I said, that not only does this bring gas to the city when people come, it brings food, it brings housing. I think it's a benefit to the city, and I've brought this up to other people to drive over and take a look at what I'm about to say. And believe it or not, some of them have. If you're trying to kind of picture what this looks like in your mind, and it's a little idea, if you go over to MATC along, is it Anderson or Wright Street, where the athletic fields are right there? You can't help but be impressed how MATC Madison College did it. Very impressive fields. And I hope, I may be wrong, but I hope that's what we're looking at here. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit. And there's more intertwine on this than meets the eye. Edgewood College, as you know, is a college. They do have students that do, correct me if I'm wrong, master's degrees and doctorates. Am I right? They also study water quality. And for God's sake, Fitchburg could use help in water quality. But I mean that not as sarcastic, with respect. I mean that with respect. That if we can tap into Edgewood College and they can help the city of Fitchburg, not Dane County, we can piggyback on them. With water quality for this, that's a plus. So, in speaking to other alders up here, there are a number of them that said a number of things. I'd like to discuss it. I'd like to tell them we're interested. I'd like to vote on it. So that's kind of what happened for tonight, where we're going. I do see some residents here in Edgewood themselves in reference to this project. So I guess the bottom line, and I'll stop, is just, are you interested, council, in putting this possibly in the comp plan? I'm real careful how you say this. And putting it in the comp plan, it still has to follow the process. Don't sell me short. It still has to follow the process. And thinking about this afternoon, I'm just going to throw this out for another point of order, another thought. When the comprehensive plan was put in place 10 years ago, I know for a fact, because I was around, Tom Hovell had some people work on certain projects. So if the staff feels that this is overwhelming, they can't do it, they can't meet the timeline, you know what? I guess I'll have to find some money so we can hire someone to help out the staff, if that's a burden. Because something tells me that's a burden, but I don't think it's right. I think it's a good project and I don't want to lose it. That's just a thought. That's just a thought. Now, another alder might say, not really you, I don't want to spend money on it. I think the plan will outweigh what we're doing to possibly put in the comp plan. And at this point, I'll amend to another alder.
All right, so thank you for that. I'm going to go with the citizen comments next. I do have two people that would like to speak. First, I have Mary Ellen Gevelinger, and then after that is Michael Guns.
Thank you, alders. Edgewood College would like to be a good neighbor with you. I'm Mary Ellen Gevelinger. I'm the interim president of Edgewood College. I'm also a sister of the Dominican Sisters of Sinsinawa, who are the sponsoring congregation for Edgewood College. And so tonight I represent the college, the Board of Trustees, and the Sinsinawa Dominican Sisters. And we're grateful for this opportunity to consider partnering with you to develop an outdoor campus of approximately 40 acres, and you've seen that, located at the corner of Seminole and Lacey. So this outdoor campus, we think, will provide some opportunities for the city of Fitchburg as well. A home for Edgewood athletic programs. The college has never had a field where we can put our name and have all of our sports, or most of them, playing. Our students play on 11 different fields. This would be a wonderful opportunity. We also would offer wetland maintenance and research for environmental science students. So you see the large wetland area there that would be preserved and maintained. We would create this lovely green space with the wetland preservation, and that would be there for the neighbors to appreciate. We also would provide the Fitchburg residents with access to a park-like setting with walking trails, so residents could come out and enjoy that as well. And importantly, we would assist the city in local and regional groundwater management, and we think that would be a benefit to you as well. So I urge you tonight to include this Edgewood College project in your 10-year comprehensive plan. I also must express my concern that choosing to exclude Edgewood from the current update, effectively the choice before you, will result in Edgewood backing away from this development opportunity. I want to be clear that Edgewood is not in a position to speculate. Our offer to purchase the O'Brien property cannot be extended on the mere possibility of approval for development at some point in the future. Thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight, and I urge you to include the O'Brien property in your 10-year comprehensive plan.
All right, thank you. Michael.
Thank you to the council members for this opportunity to speak in favor of the Edgewood project. I echo the comments of Sister Mary Ellen Gevlinger. There can't be more of a win for the city of Fitchburg residents as well as Edgewood College students. I won't repeat the benefits identified by Mary Ellen, but I would point out that at least 2 of those fields are turf fields, and underneath essentially giant holding tanks that can receive water during water events, rain, time releases out into the wetland area, and address what we think are issues that the city has with this particular property. I also urge the council to include this project in its 10-year comprehensive plan update. The project would be shovel-ready in spring of 2021, the date at which urban services will be extended within 20 feet of the property across the road from Lacey. The project cannot be advanced without access to urban services, and urban services cannot be accessed unless the project is included in the comprehensive plan update. I remind members of the council that choosing to not include Edgewood places the project or the potential for the opportunity for partnering in the future at risk. Based upon the existing comprehensive plan and past practice of the city of Fitchburg, voting no to including Edgewood in its comprehensive plan puts this thing out 10 years. Now that may change, but that's what your past practice is. So deciding not this time around puts it out 10 years. I think that connects with the speculation piece. We'll hold on, we'll do whatever we can. We want to make this project happen, but we can't go from a possibility now or 10 years out. We provide the opportunity today to partner with the city of Fitchburg and its residents. At a meeting on July 23rd, I listened to the majority of this council express favor for the project, yet vote to exclude it. There's still time, precious little time, but there's still time to include this project and complete the 10-year comprehensive plan update prior to the deadline set for April elections. There's time for public input. There's time for intergovernmental approvals. Edgewood can assist in that process. All it takes is the political will to include the project in the plan. Staff can accomplish this if council chooses to require it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have some other people who have just registered. I have Thomas O'Brien from Fitchburg registering in support of the above matter. I feel this would be great. I have Roger Cohey registering in support. This is a great opportunity for Fitchburg. I have Thomas Thorson from Fitchburg registering for discussion only comment. I know this is for discussion only, but do not direct or have this go in the 10-year comp plan and update. This is a separate issue that needs much more vetting and studying on all implications, taxes, roads, traffic, calls for service, uses, etc. Thank you. Pat O'Brien, registering in support. I feel an Edgewood athletic facility would be a great addition to the Fitchburg community. Also help in solving water runoff problems currently occurring in the Stoner Prairie area. We received an email from Dawn Krim. Greetings, Fitchburg Mayor and Alders. Unfortunately, I'm out of town and not able to attend this meeting in person. In my absence, please read these comments. I am writing to request that Edgewood Athletic Complex be added to the City of Fitchburg's comprehensive plan. I'm no stranger to the City of Fitchburg. I've been an active resident of the city since 1998. I have watched and participated in the city's growth. I was among the residents who helped construct the Kids Crossing Playground at McKee Farms Park, as well as helped paint the park entry signs on Chapel Valley Road. In the early 2000s, when the Highlands of Seminole neighborhood was being developed, I worked with then Mayor Tom Clowder to plan and select the play equipment for Rose Commons Park. I participated in many input sessions of the comprehensive plan 10 years ago, bringing residential experience as well as experience from being a member of the WMAS Campus Master Plan Steering Committee. Lastly, a few years ago, I served on the Fitchburg Bike Ped Advisory Committee. I share all of this to say I care about the city. I've been an active participant in its growth. Currently, I serve as an Edgewood College Board of Trustee member, and I'm the current chair of Buildings, Grounds, and Technology. I have served for the past 9 years. The proposed Edgewood Athletic Complex is a wonderful opportunity for the city of Fitchburg to expand in a smart way and gain a reliable educational partner. An educational partner who is prudent with its resources and is continuously looking for ways to extend student learning opportunities. The Edgewood Athletic Complex will not only bring green space, but also bring the benefits of wetland preservation and groundwater management. In addition to using the land as an athletic complex, introducing lacrosse to its collegiate athletic offerings, Edgewood College plans to include teaching opportunities on wetland preservation and groundwater management with students. The project will bring faculty, staff, and students to Fitchburg to play and learn. For some, it will serve as an introduction to many may not be familiar with the Fitchburg community. And the complex will add to Dane County's growing reputation as a healthy city and sports destination, especially given its close proximity to the bike trail. The project can increase community connections and add to the Fitchburg economy, including Edgewood's athletic complex. The City of Fitchburg comprehensive plan benefits the city and the community. It is a win-win. It's respectfully submitted, Dawn Krim from Highlands of Seminole resident and Edgewood College Board of Trustee member. And I passed out copies of comments from Jay Hockmuth from Fitchburg, registering in opposition. And I'll read some of his comments here. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the agenda item 11A. My name is Jay Hockmuth. I've lived in Fitchburg 33 years. Michael Ejercito, Seminole Forest Neighborhood Association President, and Tom Thorson, Lizzie Heights Neighborhood Association President, agree with all of these comments. Please obtain more information from Edgewood College, the O'Brien family, and staff, and more feedback from the public before deciding if staff should be directed to revise the scope of work for the comprehensive plan update. There may be other ways to more expeditiously determine if the council should approve an athletic complex for Edgewood College on the 40-acre parcel at the southwest corner of the Seminole Highway at Lacey Road intersection. Information that's needed includes more detail about this proposal, including whether it will be used solely by Edgewood College students to practice sports and do field work for academic courses, or will also be used for athletic events open to the public, the names of other organizations that would be allowed to use the complex for what purposes. An explanation as to whether revising the scope of work for the comp plan update to include this project will delay completion of the update, and if so, why and by how many months. An explanation as to whether the council has the option of adopting a resolution 11/24/19 setting 1/3/20 instead of 5/22/20 as the deadline for submitting comp plan amendments for 2020. Note this would allow a comp plan amendment for the Edgewood project and other projects like the MG&E solar farm to be considered separately from the comp plan update. The deadline for 2020 comp plan amendments can't be changed to 1/3/20. An explanation as to why Edgewood College and the O'Brien family can't wait until 5/22/20 for the mayor or 3 alders to introduce a comp plan amendment to allow an athletic complex on this property. Given this background, please refer this item to September 17th Plan Commission meeting with a report back date of September 24th, so the Plan Commission can make a recommendation as to whether the scope of work and schedule for the comp plan update should be revised. Referring it to the Plan Commission will also provide an opportunity for the public to comment on it at that meeting. And that's all I have from the public. Oh, Tom, did you want to speak? Sure. All right. Just for the public, we know who you are, but let the public know who you are.
Good evening, Tom O'Brien, 2627 South Seminole Highway. As I spoke earlier, I think this is a great opportunity for the city of Fitchburg, especially with the groundwater, because, you know, last night it rained again and the water ran on the north side of Lacey Road through the culvert down on us. It's been going on. Question I have, and I don't know if I can get an answer tonight. I heard Sonia say that we've got to be concerned about the neighborhood associations, the neighborhood plans, CARPC, and all of the things that are involved in a development. We're asking for a 40-acre parcel to be included in the urban service. What neighborhood plan do we need for an athletic field? CARPC, I haven't asked Mike how many bathroom facilities there would be in the clubhouse. I would assume probably 4 or 5 bathrooms in both men's and women's, water bubbler. But the usage of the sewer and water that the Metropolitan Sewer would be involved with, it just kind of overwhelms me, the fact that it would probably, unless they're going to set up an ice skating rink, would only be used 9 out of the 12 months of the year. So I'm just kind of, I'm scratching my head as to why there is such a strong opposition with, well, we got CARPC. We're not asking for the 230 some odd acres that we own to come into the urban service. To the west of us, the Richardson property, the Hammersley property is already in the FUTA, but we've got a gravel quarry there. So how soon will that actually come into the urban service is questionable. So just my thoughts. And thank you, Council.
All right, thank you. All right, comments, discussion, Julia, and then Dan.
So, so my comment to this, to this project, since we are, I was one of the ALDE that didn't approve the frame from the revision of the comprehensive plan for a lot of reasons. And one of the reasons was this one, because we are missing opportunities like the Edgewood College to be addressed in the comprehensive plan. And I think that we, as a council member, we have the power to decide tonight if we want to put this in the comprehensive plan. We can do it. And I think this is a great project for the city. We are investing in that corridor. We are putting the infrastructure to address the traffic concern. So I am fully in support of this. We are going to be stupid if we miss this opportunity. We should do it. And I think that I would like that we discuss it, but we left tonight with an action plan. We can tell the staff to work on this. We can do it. We can put on the floor an item in the agenda to move forward with this.
All right, Dan?
Yeah, I got to address some of the comments. First off, because I had a conversation with Sonia about the process, and I like the project. We don't have anything before us, really, but I hear what you're saying. I like the idea. I'd like to consider it. We don't, I'd need more information. There needs to be public input, things like that. But the short timeline or long timeline has nothing to do whether or not we would extend our urban service area. I keep hearing this term that we need to put this property in the comprehensive plan. Putting it in the plan, it's not. There's no such thing. You got to extend the urban service area. We can't guarantee that as a city. We absolutely cannot. There's no way we can, because a lot of that decision is out of our hands. We are required by law to have any extension of our urban service area approved by the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission. In addition, through the process, through the comp plan timing process, the timeline that she mentioned, The fact of the matter is, whether you have a short timeline or a long timeline, you would have to amend your comprehensive plan through the process. You can do it with a short process to allow for a major comp plan amendment to extend the urban service area. That can be written in during the short process or a long process. It has nothing to do with the timeline. It's just not true. It's factually inaccurate. I don't support changing the timeline for that reason. You don't need to do that. We could write in to our comp plan that we could do a major comp plan amendment, and then your project could come forward. We could begin the process of extending the urban service area. However, there's no guarantees because we don't control CARPC, we don't control the state DNR, and in fact, there's over 1,000 acres of land that's undeveloped in our current urban service area, and it's possible that CARPC might say, you know what, you got too much land in there. The answer is no, and we have no control over that. So we can't offer you a guarantee. What I can tell you that I would support is that I would support amending our comprehensive plan through the upcoming process in the next 8 months to, in fact, allow for a major comp plan amendment that could accommodate potentially your project, that being Edgewood, or another project in the future over the next 10 years. But that's the best we can do. We can't just put it in the plan. We don't have that option. It's just not true. It's factually inaccurate. It's not true. You can extend the timeline out 3 years. You're going to have other projects going to come up that want to get into the plan too. That's why we would put into the plan, and I would support doing it, and I think others would as well, an option for the city to have a major comp plan amendment. I still remain opposed. I do not think we need to revote on our timeline. We got our timeline. We voted. We're not going to revote. It's ridiculous. It doesn't help you anyway because there's facets of the comprehensive plan that we cannot control, CARPC and the DNR. The best we can do, whether there's a long timeline for 3 years or 2 years or 1 year or 9 months, is to add an amendment to our comp plan in the process, that we have a major comp plan amendment in the future. That is all we can do under the state law.
All right, Julia and Dorothy.
So I think that is we go into CARPC and the DNR with the support of the city and they say we really want this project and we really want to do this. I think this is not going to be a big issue, okay? The other thing I want to mention is we can incorporate to the current comprehensive plan a special study area, so where they can, they can study this development while they are doing the revision for the comprehensive plan. This is what they call special study areas. We can incorporate that. We can do it.
All right, I have Dorothy next.
I wanted to ask what the process is. I'm looking at the future urban growth area map that has South Stoner Prairie virtually next door to this property. What is the process, number one, for getting those future neighborhoods onto the map? I presume that's part of the comprehensive plan discussion. And then can we include this parcel, and there's another half parcel, another, looks like 20, 25 acres, and just pull the South Stoner Prairie urban service or urban growth area, whatever, to include this property and work from there with it?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. In order to apply for an extension of the urban service area, a project already has to be in a future urban development area, a FUDA, as you noted.
Right, I'm asking about putting this piece of land into
a
that
FUDA.
future urban service area.
In order for a property, any number of acreage to be included in a FUDA, it needs to be noted in the comprehensive plan thereas. And once it's included in a FUDA, then you can go through the process of applying for the urban service area extension. You can't do the urban area extension prior to an area being in a FUDA.
And I believe that you have to also do a neighborhood plan for it, which is a requirement that, it's not our requirement, I think it's like a state statute requirement that even though there's not necessarily a neighborhood going there, you have to do the neighborhood plan before it can go to CARPC, DNR.
Yeah, in this case, it would probably be an amendment to the North Stoner Prairie neighborhood plan. Would make sense, given that it's the adjacent parcel.
Other comments, Dan?
And I just think, I think on our end, we can do everything legally possible to help you bring something forward. And I think I would support doing that. It looks like a good project. I would certainly, I'm not going to make any promises or guarantees. We just can't do that. There's just no option for us to do that. It's a very complex, process-heavy, process-driven situation. We can't just vote and say, yeah, you're in the plan. That's just not, we're required, we're bound by state law to do certain things and to apply and ask permission to extend our urban service area. You got to develop the FUDA. You got to, you need DNR approval and CARPC approval. Maybe they would, and the city would get behind it if we went that route, but I think that your expectations got to be realistic and frankly in line with the law. I would support amending our comp plan as we go through the comp plan process to allow for a major amendment so we could begin the process just as he said, but we can't offer a guarantee. We can offer support, but that's it.
So, sure, yeah.
Requesting that you do something illegal, and we are not requesting that you carte blanche approve this project. We're asking you to include this property in your comprehensive plan update for future development. You can do that via amendment. You're right, 1 year after the plan is amended. That's what we'd be requesting then. That's what we're requesting now, is that that line be drawn to include this. If it doesn't have to be future urban services and then a line. Municipalities all over the state of Wisconsin make amendments to their plan to expand their urban services area. We're asking for this 40 to be included in this comprehensive plan update so we don't have to wait an extended period of time. We can't speculate on purchase of a property. So we are not asking you to do something illegal. We're asking you to do something that's within your control.
Pat, I think there's a couple different ways of approaching it, and correct me because I might get this wrong. One would be to essentially put it as part of the comprehensive plan update, but as part of that, I think you also need to do a neighborhood plan update, and then we need to decide if we just want to do it for this property or there is some adjacent property that is currently in a FUDA that it may make sense to plan that whole area, even though there's some of that they have no interest in developing right now. They might in the future, but that just takes time because you have to get public input, which is an important part of this whole process, I think. And I don't know what that timing is, but after that is done as part of the comp plan update, then it does need to go through CARPC and the DNR and all these things, and there's processes and there's timelines, and I don't think that's a 2021 spring is a possibility regardless of doing it that way or any other way, frankly. But there's a number of steps I have to go through. I think the second option is that we continue with the comp plan update like we're doing. One of the things that I've already talked about doing that I think there's a lot of support for is enabling to do major comp plan amendments more than just every 10 years, because that is a pretty inflexible thing that I think we've struggled with. And we'll decide as a group if it's every year, every 3 years, no more than 3 times in 5 years. I don't know what that is, but it gets done on the current timeline. Part of that is updating the comp, allowing those major comp plans, which will then enable to essentially, whenever we decide that, to do a major comp plan amendment soon, not 10 years, not 5 years. I don't know what that timeline is. And as part of that, then you'd also do the neighborhood plan, then you have to go to CARPC and all these things as well. So I think those are 2 options, if I got it right.
Just to make it clear, given the timeline that this council's voted on, it wouldn't allow us to include a future urban development area. It's not in the cards because there's too much public input, there's too much planning involved. It just couldn't be done by April of next year. This body could always do whichever you want to do with the timeline, but you've already set a deadline that staff has to follow in terms of getting this done. You're correct that the council, other communities throughout the state, many of our neighbors, do not just minor updates, but they do major updates on an annual basis or an as-needed basis as a project arises. I don't know if that helps Edgewood. I know they're dealing with options on property, and things like that. So, you know, it's a tough situation. It's all comes down to timing. Given the current timing that this council set forth, we cannot meet, or we couldn't include any additional FUDAs in the comp plan.
But one clarification though, if we decide to change the timeline, it doesn't seem to me, based on what I understand about the process, that spring of 2021 would be a possibility in any process.
No, I don't think the spring would be. I think if the property was included in the comp plan, though, that would give Edgewood some more assurance that it was moving forward. But if we were to include that property as a FUDA in the process, it would extend the comp plan planning process probably another 12 months.
Okay. Go ahead.
Question about what happens if we don't include it in a FUDA, but then we decided that we want to study the moving the suburban area line in a special study area. Like they can continue working in the comprehensive plan, the staff, but then we can add that they, when they are finished after the election of the April, that they want this thing to be done, they can continue working in this project. You know what I mean? Can we do that?
A special study area has no meaning other than a title in regards to a comprehensive plan. I mean, if the council wants to direct staff to work on this project and include it as maybe the first amendment to this comprehensive plan once it's done, then we would do that. And to some points earlier, staff will dedicate whatever resources we need to keep the timeline that the policymakers have given us. So right now we're working on a very short timeline, and we can't include any FUDAs. But we could do an amendment after year one if you wrote that into the plan, or we could extend the planning process. That's all up to you.
Can I ask another
You want to
question?
finish it? Yep.
Yeah, it's just, and then done, My question is, if we wait for that, so we decided, we're going to put it in the next amendment to the new comprehensive plan, so we're talking about what, 1-2 years? So maybe these people already say, you know what, Fitchburg, we're going to go to another municipality. You know what I mean? So my question is, what we can do today, we have the power, we are the policy maker here. We can tell staff to work in this project if we put something on the table and we vote it. I don't know, Tom.
That's correct. That's not the direction you've given us to date.
But we can change it tonight.
You can't change it tonight. It's discussion only.
Oh, really? No, because...
No, it's discussion only.
It's discussion.
Because it didn't get referred out or anything.
You can
It's
ask
on the
it to be
agenda.
added to a future agenda for action, but it clearly says discussion only on this.
And that's something that you'd want to refer to Planning Commission and get input from other governing bodies as well. Dan?
So, maybe what we ought to do, it's sort of a unique situation because we're not looking for a new neighborhood or, it's just a very unique project. And I don't want to discourage the efforts here. I think maybe what we ought to do is chat with Sonia about what the best option might be for the body. If we want to, because also a couple things. So you got this potential project. We've had no opportunity for it to go through our process, through our comp plan, to have public input. Maybe some people, I'm sure there's some people that you've already heard some that aren't crazy about it. I tend to, off the cuff, kind of like the project, but I haven't made up my mind. I would like to see an avenue for it to go forward, or for them to have a process forward with it. I think that's reasonable. I think that someone mentioned that we have to write something into our comp plan for a major comp plan amendment. I think that's something that's probably the best option, I would say. And I think he had mentioned, changing the comp plan to include it. If that's an option, I don't know if we can do that or not. I would support that if possible. I don't know if we can.
You have to change the timeline.
You have to change it, yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about changing the timeline, and we don't write our timelines based on one project. I think that's Sonia explained, planning is about planning for growth in your entire city, not to accommodate particular projects. But, I think we're gonna have to decide, and also, if we were to extend the timeline, can we isolate it to just this project? Because I know that there's, I was kind of concerned, back in July when there were people here saying, well, we'd like to get our property in, and it's way out, 2 miles from the urban service area. We can't do that stuff. First off, CARPC's gonna say no, okay? Secondly, we can't make our decisions based on people trying to sell their property or things like that, because they want to retire or whatever. We got to do what's best for the city. We got to do what's best in terms of long-term comprehensive planning. But I think I'd be open to looking for some accommodation to try, because it's such a unique project, and it's very interesting. And I think maybe what we need to do is talk to our planner about what the best option might be. But I'd want to isolate, if we were to do that, we want to isolate it to this. I certainly am not interested in opening up any other areas in the urban service area. Maybe others are. I certainly am not. I think the majority in the council is not. I think we'd like to protect rural Fitchburg. And again, I got to make the point, where you already have over 1,000 undeveloped acres in our current urban service area. So opening up more land to appease certain people or whatever the reason might be, it's bad public policy.
We wanted to bring this to Plan Commission 1 year ago, and we were directed by staff that we had to wait
We need you
until the
to
comprehensive
at least
plan
speak in a
update.
microphone, because the public can't hear you or anything like that, but sure.
I apologize, just because there's a point of clarification. You said we need input from staff. We sought input from staff, and almost 1 year ago today, we were directed that we could not do this. We want to go before Plan Commission, bring it, the process, which I understand you're describing, and we were told, no, we had to wait and be part of the comprehensive plan update.
That's because previously there wasn't an ability to do a major amendment, which is something I think there's a lot of support to change.
I don't think those two are connected in any way whatsoever, but.
No, they are.
How?
Absolutely. Because you couldn't
This is a
change.
major update to the comprehensive plan. Anytime you bring in a FUDA, anytime you try to extend the urban service area, that's a major change to the comprehensive plan, and we only allow that once every 10 years. We allow minor changes on an
Right,
annual
and this is the 10-year point, and we were told by staff to wait till that 10-year point, and we had to be part of the comprehensive plan update, and now what we're being told is we can't be.
Based on the timing that the council set forth for the plan to be completed.
And what is the size of your areas that you're allowing into the urban service? An acre, 2 acres? Is
Right
40
now,
is
there's-
40 acres unreasonable with the knowledge that you have that you're only going to annex or put into the urban service a clubhouse that'll be used 9 months out of the year? Traffic, yes, there will be traffic, but it will not be at all hours of the day and night. Pat, I just have a little trouble understanding why it is we can't. It's a matter of, well, we've got these obstacles, we've got these roadblocks, but I think we can get around them if we annex into the urban service that is 28 feet away.
And that's
it's extremely frustrating, and we really haven't addressed much on the water issue either. How is the surveyor, how is the study on the water issue coming along? We have seen nothing on that.
The funding's for next year, right?
Well, we're doing the study right now. But the points that you're making, although valid points, have nothing to do with the comprehensive plan.
Right, except.
You're asking for areas that would have been.
Stormwater issue, Pat, is devaluating our property. We've got this whole large area that we used to plant crops on. We had the Mung Gardens there 3 years ago. Here we have an opportunity.
And I'm totally supportive of the project, totally.
Well, then let's maybe advise the
But I
staff
don't have a
to
vote.
look at doing something.
can this
Dorothy?
project be done without annexation to the urban service area?
No.
Why not?
Well, I guess
Why not?
if they
Why-
could
they
do,
don't- they're not gonna
I
use
can
the
answer your
sewer.
question. So if they could do their own septic system, but I believe Mike told me that the site doesn't perk for a septic system.
Okay.
So, Dorothy?
That was going to kind of be my question too, is there parts of the project that they could do while we're waiting for the wheels to grind around here? Could they start setting up some fields and stuff? Sounds like water is the main issue.
Well, I mean, I guess if they want bathrooms and drinking water, that's where the issue is.
Water's not the issue. We can run water beyond the urban service area. It's sewer. Sewer is the issue.
Dan?
So I think the reason you were advised that nothing could be done a year ago is because there was no opportunity at the time. It was not written in our 2009 comp plan to do a major amendment. We have to write that into our comprehensive plan in this case, so that the comp plan process has to go forward. That's the first thing. Perhaps we need, no?
No, if you wanted to do additional future urban service development areas, you could do it during this process, but the timeline that you set forth doesn't allow that.
Oh, hold on. I just want to make sure. I haven't heard a whole lot down here. Tom?
You know, I just heard from one alder in reference to the DNR, in reference to CARP-Z, in reference to there's another one, but no one, at least it wasn't my intention to not bring those forward. And remember, you're dealing with a very intelligent group here. These aren't people that just came to Dane County last week. These aren't people that I would love to fight for Edgewood in reference to the city of Madison. God, I would love to fight that one. I wish I was on the council. Forget I said that. Forget I said that. Man, how long has the school been there? 92 years. 92 years. I would take them to court too. I won't go there. You know, who runs the city? I'll tell you who runs the city. It's called the mayor and the city council.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Yes, you do have the power to help to hire someone or get somebody on board to meet any timeline. I knew that timeline was going to come up, and I knew we have all this land, and why are we going here? Boy, when I leave this council, if you don't remember this statement, I can't help you. The market can drive it. I've said that until I'm blue in my face. The market can drive the project. It's called Target. The market drove the Target store. And I had an alder that wanted to get rid of it because we didn't have underground parking. I'll never forget it. The market drove Orchard Point. And I'm telling you, look what's done. Look what it's done. Future mayors and past mayors can piggyback on what I started. I started that, and let me tell you who I started with, John Flad. And John Flad graduated from Edgewood High School. You know, why does Fitchburg, it just seems like, stumble over their own feet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. You know, and because of what I'm hearing tonight, and I'm okay with it, let's stop the discussion and move this. I'll make an amendment to move this in a month from now for a further discussion on a vote to maybe include this in the comp plan. And if I can get a second, we can stop the discussion. People can think about it. Let's bring it back in a month and talk about it. But I am, you know, I can see how people get discouraged. Maybe an alder tells a person one thing, staff tells them another. Do I think it can get done? The answer is yes. Yes, it can. Will it take hard work? Yes, it can. Don't talk to me about Tecumseh and the comp plan. You know what? I know I didn't say anything about stopping the process, did I? Just like the people in Seminole Forest and Lacey Heights are watching this, I said nothing about not going through the plan. I didn't say advert the plan. I said look at the plan and possibly include it in what we're talking about. I'm going to make a motion that we put this back on the agenda for further discussion in a month. Or,
Sure.
Hold on. All right.
Okay.
But you can direct staff to put it on the agenda.
But I'm guessing you also want it to refer to Plan Commission, yeah.
Yeah.
We can put it on the agenda and direct refer it per the mayor to Plan Commission. So I'd be happy to do that.
Can it still be direct for to next week's Plan Commission?
No, because the agenda was due 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's,
It would have to go to Plan Commission next month.
yeah, so.
But we could put it on the next council agenda in September.
how is it worded? What do you think?
I'd work with the mayor on the wording, but basically it would be discussion and potential action.
Oh, yeah, action, yeah, I like that word. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, I mean, it sounds like people want to talk about it again, so we can do that, and, I mean, it's really kind of.
I heard a month ago, are we looking at the second meeting in September or a month from now? I was a little
I mean,
confused.
I think you want it to go to Plan Commission. I don't think you want to make any
But
action
I
without
don't,
input from Plan
I'm not interested, I never said that, I'm not trying to avert the process. And so if, I'm with you, it would be, next month would be Plan Commission.
Right. And I guess part of I believe that the first draft of the comp plan is going to be done at the end of October, as of right now.
Oh, really?
Because the idea is to have it, essentially the draft done in December, so you can get public input in January and February.
It's a joke. Okay, can I,
Question, yeah.
a question is why this need to go to Plan Commission? What is Plan Commission is going to act on this?
Because it's part of the comp plan, and.
So what is
I would
going to happen?
just
What
like
is that? Okay, my
anything-
question is, okay, but what is Plan Commission is going to put it in the plan, in the comprehensive plan? What is the outcome that we expected for that? I want to be, sure that we are sending something to plan for what?
So you would get input from them on if they agree or disagree on
What?
which avenue to go, if it's to, change the timeline, if it's to not change the timeline, if it's to, make sure that we have the major amendments a possibility. And, some people might say that you want to get the comp plan amendment done as soon as possible with that provision that you can do major amendments sooner so that you can start that process right away.
And this is my question to you, Aaron. I don't know why, because you said that we are going to have a draft of the comprehensive plan done in October. What is the rush to do this? What is the rush that we are doing? It's insane.
Wait, Dan.
It's not
Dan.
germane. We had the discussion
Dan.
on the timeline.
Dan.
Sorry.
You can't interrupt.
It's not germane.
Dan.
And we voted on
Dan,
it too.
that's enough. All right.
But I am asking
So-
question, why is the rush? What is the rush? Why we cannot wait 6 more months and include this project? I don't know. This is the question that I
We
asked.
voted on it, Julia.
We
I
talked
am not
about
talking to
Dan.
you.
I know when you don't get your way, you like
Dan,
to give
Dan,
another vote.
Dan.
When you don't get your way,
Dan,
you
you're
want
out of
another
order. Thank you. All right, Dorothy.
I was going to say, part of that vote included a line that says it's possible to extend the timeline.
Sure, if we decide to do that because we want to put a project or something else in there. So, Dan, would you like to speak?
And I'm so tired of people who, when they don't get their way or a vote doesn't go their way, they will do anything, even subject the city to lawsuits, which has happened, to get their way and revote until it happens. And so I'm interested in helping Edgewood. I'm interested in working with them. But we had this discussion. We've explained why we'd like a lot of us who would like a quicker timeline would like that. Doesn't mean we don't want Edgewood. Doesn't mean we don't want to work with them. But I like our timeline process. I think it's efficient. I think it's reasonable and fiscally responsible for the city. I think we've discussed it over and over. I think we've voted. I think the council has indicated its will in accordance with the public. It's not that complicated. So I think we should work with Edgewood. I totally support what Tom is trying to do. I can appreciate that. But I am so tired. If I've lost votes, I don't try to bring stuff back and subject the city to lawsuits like you did.
All right, that's enough. Yeah, sure. All right. Can we move on? Any last comments at all? All right. We're going to move on then.
Well, just to be clear, for staff's perspective, so we are going to bring this item back in 1 month to be referred to Plan Commission.
After it's referred to Plan Commission, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right. Public Works, there's nothing on here. Any report, Dan? No report. All right. Park Commission, Sarah?
No report. Unfortunately, there was a meeting last week, and I was unable to attend.
All right. Library Board, Ann?
We're meeting next Wednesday night, the 18th, at 5:30 at the library.
All right. Commission on Aging Well, Dorothy?
We have a meeting coming up Thursday morning at 8:30 here.
All right. RCC?
No report.
Nothing. All right. Transportation and Transits? No report. All right. CETA? Looks like no report. I don't think you had a meeting, have you? Okay. Meeting's next week. Okay. All right. Ag and Rural Affairs, Janelle? No report. EMS?
No report.
All right. Bicycle Committee. I think Julia's in the hallway. All right. Tree Advisory Committee? I forget who's.
We'll have a meeting again Thursday, and I'd like to bring Parks question back.
Oh, yeah, a question for Parks, sure.
Yeah, I watched, well, I've been involved in a lot of email with Scott Endel and some of the residents up in our area talking about excessive noise at Heagle Park. The Park Commission did have a significant discussion on it. If people are interested in seeing that, I would suggest watching the Park Commission meeting on Fact TV. There's a variety of things they're suggesting, including not allowing sound permits in the park, which means you cannot turn a radio on and listen to music at any volume while you have your picnic. Legally, it means that. So I'm looking for reasonable compromises as part of this process.
You want to?
Sorry, just one comment. So I was out of town, so I wasn't unable to attend, but Scott did touch base with me that he was kind of just pursuing not allowing amplified music. So it would just be the amplified music that would be permitted, that the boom boxes at a reasonable level, those were not being excluded from what I had heard, but I believe it is still pending.
No, even a boombox would be amplified music.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, sorry.
Yeah. Janelle, do you have a question on that?
Sarah, do you mind if I do a quick update on the outreach conversation that we had?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm not part of the outreach.
So I joined the outreach group as part of the Resource Conservation Commission, and basically what we're considering at this point is an effort to decrease the number of bags that are that come through the city. So basically, some of the high-level math is that a plastic bag takes about 500 years to compost. Most of them are used for about 15 minutes. And what we're trying to do is put together an effort that, if we ran the math correctly, we have the ability to reduce annually about 10 million bags in this city every year. So we're looking at putting some efforts together to really get people on board and see if we can take a serious crack at that number.
All right. Landmarks Preservation, have you met at all? I think that's Shannon?
Meeting, I think, is it like November 4th at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay, great. Finance Committee. Don?
Next will be detailed review of all check numbers are 119534 through 119602. They're dated 8/16/19 through 8/31/19. Total is $1,076,269,057. Next is detailed review of all ACH payments. These are dated 8/1/19 through 8/31/19. Total is $413,897.85. Number C is review of the P cards for all cycling ending August 6, 2019. That total was $252,698.88. The next was a resolution we had on finance tonight. It's Resolution R-150-19, review of liability policy with Cities and Villages Municipal Insurance Company. And this will be through 2021 through 2022, and I do move that.
All right, move to approve by Tom. Is there a second? Second. All right, and do you want Pat to speak to it? Do you want to speak to it? What it is?
Pat, you might even have a little bit more than I do, but we went through City and Villages to get basically the best price.
Yeah, we actually went out for a bid on this process 2 years ago, and Cities and Villages was the best deal. It is exclusively owned by 48 different municipalities in the state of Wisconsin, and they do a great job for us. To date, they've saved us money in many of our insurance needs, and we have a good working relationship with them.
You know, one more thing, if I can add, that I got out of that session in our conversation today is that they also do a great job of educating our staff. And so a key part of what we do as a city is try to avert those situations that put us in a legally compromising situation where we'd have to require their services. So having that education is not only healthy for the city, but it's healthy for the program.
All right. Any questions about this? We need liability insurance, so it's important to have that. All right. Seeing no further questions, all in favor of approving Resolution R-150-19, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? And abstentions? All right, that is approved. Anything else, Tom?
No, that was it.
All right, personnel, or Julia, have you met Ian? Okay, nothing there. Public safety, anything additional in public safety, Ian? All right, mayor's reports. Let's see here. Tomorrow, I'm going with staff to the Wisconsin Economic Development Awards. Pro Mega is nominated for an award, so hopefully they get that. Thursday night, there is an open house at Blackhawk Church, as they're not done quite yet, but I think they're giving tours of where they're at so far. There's still a bunch of stuff on the inside to do. And next Monday night is an open house educational on MGE solar project that is going on the rest of the O'Brien property, actually. Other than that, budget, I've been working with staff on that. We're waiting for a couple of numbers, essentially health insurance rates to come in, and that will be done here in the next week or so. I did hear today at District 401 it sounds like the Hillside Heights pond is almost complete. They're close to doing that additional pond in Hillside Heights as well. I think they just got to do some final grading and plantings and stuff like that. And they also think that next week the fire station will be fully operational with internet. I know that's kind of the ongoing thing. They are operating out of the station though right now, just making it work with phones and pagers and that type of stuff, but they should be fully operational sometime next week. Other than that, I can go around the room. Dan, any report? No report. All right, Julia's gone. Ann, any report? Dorothy?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I spent some time at Dunn's Marsh this morning with Mary Mullen from Madison, as well as the Madison Alder. We were looking at the recreational circuit around Dunn's Marsh that I talk about. But what I was noticing was all the monarchs, butterflies that have been around. Hopefully people have been seeing them around. The ones that are flying around now are on their way to Mexico. So I've spent the last 2 summers raising monarch butterflies from eggs. So I've learned a lot, and it's been really fascinating to learn.
All right, thank you. Janelle, report.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of things. Mayor, you stole some of my thunder already. The conversation around MG&E, we've got Blackhawk. The next 2 days, I'm going to be in the city of Racine for an event called the Smart Cities. There's some technology that is just very recently was announced that'll affect how we plan in a variety of GIS-based ways and as well as design. So I'm looking forward to that 2-day conference. We've heard from a number of neighbors in our area regarding some accidents, obviously, recently. So there's been a lot of chatter around that, and I appreciate staff's help in figuring out how we address those areas. I also just want to take a moment and reach out to both fire and EMS. I know they've been in the process of moving into this new facility, and we've had some technical challenges that we certainly have known were coming, but the fact that we continue to put our citizens first and, these transitions that we're going through behind the scenes, from what I can tell, are completely transparent to what's going on in the community. The math that I'm seeing right now is that we're already seeing a 1.5-minute difference in service into that area. And if you know anyone that's gone through a stroke, that is a life-changing stat. So excited to see this new facility and just want to thank the team for rallying behind some of the technical challenges we've had and just make it look like a normal day.
All right, thank you. Tom.
If you go down Irish Lane, the mayor already mentioned it, and I'll just reiterate, it's long overdue. It actually goes back to Hartman and myself, and it has to do with the pond. Hillside Heights is finally getting the pond they deserve, and it's to help the water problem over there. If you go down Irish Lane, just past the greenhouse, you can't miss it. So I'm glad. And there were some questions about that pond, how big we'd make it, and some people wondered about the trees being taken out. The most important thing was to solve the water problem. I like trees, but it was to solve the water problem. Been questioned about the accidents that are occurring. There's fatality at MM and McCoy. That's a county road, remember, too. MM, it's a county road. It's not our road. That's going to be upgraded, I understand, in 2020. So those that wonder about that intersection, it's coming. That one's coming. And I've had some calls about the solar farm at the O'Brien. I think maybe it was mentioned. But for people in Wildwood South, Lacey Heights, here I go again, Seminole Forest, you've got to go to these meetings to know what's going on the O'Brien farm, because it's really kind of unique, the solar farm that's going in. I want to just make one comment. It's at ground level. It's ground level, and I think it's going to be neat. I think it was the meeting September 17th or something like that.
It's Monday. Monday night.
Next Monday. So that has to do with that solar farm. That's all I have.
All right. Janelle?
One more thing,
Yeah.
just a reminder that I will not be here at the next meeting.
Yep. Okay. Shannon? Nothing? All right. Sarah?
Just one thing, the RCC is putting on a movie next Wednesday, September 18th at the library. It's called Plastic Planet. It's just supposed to be really educational about how popular plastic has become and how it's impacted our life. So the RCC will be providing lemonade at 6:30. It'll be a good time.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Comp plan update. Next committee of the whole is going to be talking more about comp plan and some of the pieces of that. I know that I think Dorothy is chairing. I know at one point you want to talk about some juvenile, I can't remember, some juvenile issues.
Yeah, I've got the DA and some reps from the juvenile jail. It's on their schedule to spend the second hour.
Okay, so that sounds like it'll be a longer meeting there. And I would actually probably have them go first, because the comp plan could go for way more than an hour. So it might be can be a whole meeting then if both things are gonna happen. But we need to talk about comprehensive plan as that continues to go forward, and obviously we talked a little bit about that today. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Next common council meeting is in 2 weeks, and committee of the whole is the day after that. Anyone want to move to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, we are adjourned.